yes, as I said, we've been doing a series, if you're just joining us, about getting published. And an important part about being published, not just your book, is about branding. So that's definitely what we're going to be talking about today. So we are Blondie and the Brit. We had a podcast for many years called Writing, Publishing and Beyond. And now we've come over to TikTok to do something similar. We love interviewing authors about their work, and we talk about the publishing industry. KJ is indie, I'm hybrid, so we have a lot of knowledge between us, hopefully, and if we can help you, we will. And we come here each Friday 12 o'clock Pacific time, and then 3 p.m. on the East Coast, and we talk for about an hour. If you've got any questions about writing or anything to do you want to ask us about our books, feel free to ask away. So,
yep. And if you have advice, things that you've done, Big Ben was here. Now we have Red Ass is here. Papa Brat. I love some of these handles. They're so funny. So one of the things that I think Suzanne has done really well is on her email. She has Gmail, and on her email she has a signature line, and then she's got like her book covers and links to her social. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Suzanne?
Yeah, I was just wondering if I could pull up my email real quick so I could actually show you guys on my computer, because it's so great. What I was telling KJ is, here's a really simple branding idea, and you wouldn't believe how many people, I forget it's on there because it's just on the bottom of my email, and you wouldn't believe how many people like I will have who will message me back and say, I didn't know you were an author. Can I get you? I just bought your book. And so it's just one of those things that is a very simple thing. Once it's done, in fact, I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see this. Hopefully you can see. Can you see that, KJ? There's a little picture of me and the fact that I'm a best-selling author. And there's also a link to my website. And then there's my latest book there. See? I put that on. And at the bottom are all my Facebook and all my social media posts. And that literally, I'm trying to think of what, I think it's called something Wise Owl, I think it is. And it's a Wise Stamp. Thank you. And that is free software. You just go on, you put in what you need to put in. They put it onto your account, and the next thing you know, you've got a signature. And it's such a simple branding idea. And like I said, you don't realize how many people you email that aren't anything to do with writing, that don't even know you're a writer. Your dentist, whoever you're, messaging, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that you were a writer, and I'm going to go get your book. And you're like, okay, great. So that is things like that, that kind of evergreen, set it and forget it, way of marketing is a great way to start if you are like wondering, how do I go about this? Is a big thing to do. And I think like branding is, if you can do that I think that works really well. Do you have that on yours, KJ?
Yeah, it's called Wise Stamp. I think I told you about it, actually.
You probably did. You're smart like that. It's
a cool little thing. I think you can add it through the Google Chrome, but you probably, if you have other emails, just go to wisestamp.com. What you do, it's almost like a little business card. You put in your business name, your address, or whatever you want to share, your email plus your phone number. And so people that you're emailing, maybe they have more contact information or whatever. Or if you want to keep it, like I have a pen name, so it's safer. Like you can just put the information that you want, but it's almost like a little business card that's attached to that. And then it has like mine looks like a real signature that says, thank you. It's just kind of a cool little feature. And I've had some bigger name authors look at that and they're like, hey, what's that? How do you do it? And so I'm like, well, I found it online, and you teach them how to do it. So it's pretty cool. There's it's simple to set up. And then like Suzanne's, I think she did it so beautifully, is that she also has a few graphics. So if you go into the Gmail settings, there's a place that you can have, I can't remember the name of it, but you could always Google how do I add a graphic to the signature line of my news of my.
And I was going to say, this particular graphic, let me put it up again so you guys can see it. This one is also free software. I'm trying to do this so that you can. What am I doing wrong here? There we go. So you can see, and you get that 3-book look, and that was free software as well. And I'm trying to think what it's called, but they do. What do you say?
I was going to say there's one called Book Brush where you can make the graphics. It's just Suzanne's book cover on a ebook, like a phone, a tablet, and the paperback. But there's also something called DIY book covers
Oh, I've not heard of that one.
Totally free. It's a little bit, slightly, tiny bit complicated. Just like you have to scroll down a little bit to find out how to make it. But you can make a lot of where your book covers are kind of right next to each other, either in different formats or however. There's several different versions. And then you have it's just a PNG or a GIF or like a JPEG that you then can attach to your email signature, and you can use that on Twitter and Facebook and all the other places that you might be promoting your books. You can take that same graphic and make something out of it in Canva, which is Suzanne and I talk about Canva a lot. It's another canva.com, totally free. They're going to try to get you to sign up and get a paid plan, but you don't need to. Just use the free version.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say I can see the one in BookBrush. I was actually looking for the one that I use, but I think if you put in book mock-up, that's what it's called when you've got that sort of fake front for your book. Look at book mock-ups, and you'll find it normally comes up pretty quickly. So I can't find the actual one that I normally use, but that's all you need to do. And then you've got those three. You know, you can do them in all different types of. You can have 3 paperbacks, or you can have them different ways around. And so you can just figure out what works best for you. So yeah, it's great to do that. Really easy. And then it's done, and you've got that to use whenever you need it. That book mock-ups are great for that.
Right. I've done some where I have like my 3 book covers on one. They're all in tablets. They're kind of stacked. So there's some really cool features. It's a great, fast way that you can put some marketing materials together. So then you can use that same PNG or JPEG image file in a BookBub ad, or you can use it in a newsletter ad, or anything that you're doing, even just as a social media post, or you can put it into like on Canva, it gives you the sizes for like your Twitter banner, your Facebook banner. It'll give you the exact size that you need, and you can use the same graphic of the 3 book covers, into that piece. So there's a lot of ways. The other thing that is a simple thing to do that we were noticing, there's several authors out there that forget this, that when you're on Amazon, you can go to authorcentral.com, and it's a place where authors can put their information, either their picture or their bio, and even videos and blog posts into Amazon, so that if you go to Amazon and look at someone's book, and you click onto the author name, that's a live link. It goes to their Author Central page, and it has all that information. And if you go to it and it's blank, you've missed an opportunity to talk to, to share who you are a little bit. Maybe, they say that when you're marketing, one of the things that people want is 7 exposure. So if they get to know you a little bit, they're like, oh, you're not necessarily selling your book in that moment, but you're selling yourself. Like, hey, I live in Seattle. I grow turkeys, or whatever goofy things that you can put in there. So I'm talking she lives where they had a Thanksgiving turkey and they saved him, right? So they're just, I'm not saying that you need to put that in your bio, but I'm just saying as people get to know you better, part of the reason that they're buying your book is they like your genre, but also that once they get to know you, they feel loyal to you. They feel like they know you, so they want to learn more about your work, which is your book. So that's just simple little things like that. So on Author Central, you can put in just a quick bio about who you are. It should have, if you've got multiple books published on Amazon, it'll have all your books already listed. But you can connect an RSS feed, which is just a fancy way of saying your blog post, to every time you publish a blog, it automatically goes onto this Author Central page. So it's just another broader reach. You can do the same thing over on Goodreads, so that when your blog publishes, I don't do a blog that often, but when I do it, I feel pretty good because it goes out onto Amazon and then it goes out onto Goodreads, and it's a much broader book-focused audience that gets to see.
Exactly.
I'll have a sale, or I'll have, a book cover, reveal, or just some things like that you can do. And if you're a regular blogger, it's a huge audience to grab you and to push people into your books that are it's like a free ad almost on Amazon. So just keep those things in mind. And if you ever need to learn how to do those, Google is a magnificent tool to say, how do I find Author Central on Amazon? So you can Google that stuff. They'll give you step-by-step instructions on how to do it. So what else? Then what other things?
Well, I was going to say, I know that when I go to somebody's page and they don't have a profile picture, it tells me, it automatically says unprofessional to me. And I know that a lot of people, they just don't get around to it. But I think that you really are not just missing an opportunity, you're missing a chance for someone to see you as a professional. Even if it's your very first book, even if you're indie published, any of those things don't matter. You always want to come, you're competing with people that are professional. You're competing with people in your genre, and anything that makes people go, oh, well, they just look, is this even a good book? Because I think that, having a picture, particularly this maybe the same picture you use across social media, so people can automatically know you if you're on the same person on Twitter as the same person on Amazon, is also important. And then making sure that that you have that picture up there and you have some sort of profile. What are some of the things that you should put in an author profile? You're a good brander. This is kind of KJ's field. So what do you suggest that people put as far as branding in their bios for Amazon?
Right. Well, I mean, one of the things, your Amazon.
Hi, Jenica. My friend Jenica's on. I'm sorry, I had to say hi. Carry on.
Sarah Bailey just joined. Yeah. There's people coming in. I haven't been able to say all your names. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you every 2 seconds. But thank you for joining us. If you want to like or share, that would be fabulous. So on your bio, I think you can have several different bios. Like I have a super short bio because sometimes when you're doing a promo, they only let you have like 100 words. So I have several.
Right.
What you're trying to do, and I think what you said before is really important, your professionalism needs to show. So like Suzanne and I like to joke about this one guy that we followed on Facebook who wanted to be on the podcast. And his profile picture was a plate of beans with a candle in it. And we're like, how do you do a plate?
We're not doing, and it really did put us off, didn't it, KJ? We were like, how is anyone going to take this guy seriously?
He might have been the best author ever, but that to us was not like a professional representation. That's a personal page, whatever. Like, I think that's fine. Be funny. It was funny, but it wasn't like, I want to interview this guy and find out what he wrote. I was just kind of like, this might be a train wreck. I don't know.
Yeah, you're just not sure. You just don't know what you're getting.
That's the profile picture, but keep that same attitude when you're writing your bio. And maybe some of you have advice for us about how to do your bio. But I mean, there's probably a formula out there. One of the things that you want to do, of course, is, what are you? If you're there on Amazon trying to sell a book, best-selling international author, whatever titles, tags that you can do, the very first thing you're going to see is something impressive.
You want to hook them in. Just like when we were talking about hooks with the book. You want to hook them in as a professional, because if they're going to spend $3, $4, $5 on your book, they want to think that you are doing this for a living, there's something that you've taken time to do your bio, which makes them feel good. So definitely, if you've won any competitions, make sure that's pretty high up there. If you are a best-selling author, make sure that's up there. I know that in the top of my bio, I have the fact that I've sold 350,000 books. I have the fact that I'm an Amazon best-selling author. And I do have my competitions wins in there, because I think that having that first, 350,000 people have bought my book. Hopefully it's not a load of crap. You know what I'm saying? So that's my hope, is that when people read that, and they see that I kind of am a 4.5, 4.6 like rating over there, that they are not wasting their money by putting their money out for me. So I think that's really important, is that people do forget, just like you would never go to an interview in your pajamas, now we're out on social media, you have to make sure that you look professional, as people are coming to do business with you, which is what they're doing on your Amazon page.
Find your book, right? And so you're establishing credibility. Now, if you're a newer author and you don't have all that stuff, that's totally fine. Just take your bio seriously. I think it's really interesting. Like, you read some of the best-selling authors, when they get to be really big, they pull off all that stuff because people already know who they are, and then they tell them about themselves. So I think it is important too to give them a sense of who you are. If you're able to share where you live or some of your other interests, that's good. But put that like the third paragraph so they get to know you a little bit. But then, maybe you talk about what genre you're writing in.
What inspired you to be a writer. You can make it a little bit of a story in your bio as well. Don't make it too dry.
Yeah, just the hard facts makes it look like you're applying for a job. And here, this is a lot more creative endeavor as a book author. So, and some people are really funny with it and they pull it off because they're hitting, like if their books are humor, especially, you're trying to capture the tone of what you write in your bio as well. And to make it funny or entertaining or like, knowledgeable, depends on kind of what your genre is. So it's okay to pull in some of that branding. One of the exercises that I do for some of my clients is when we first start is to write down a list of all the words that describe maybe not just you, but your books. Your books, it's kind of like your author platform. And so you come up with a whole list of words, and then you narrow it down to 5 words that talk about your branding. So for my branding, and it's broader than necessarily your books, but it's almost like what you're posting on social media, what you're covering in your storylines. So I write about hurricanes and time travel. So hurricanes, obviously, severe weather. Time travel is one of my brand words. And then I love being in the water and the ocean, so beach themed. And so if you can go through and kind of just get 5 brand words, then when you write your bio, you write your blurbs, you do your branding, like the visuals that you share on social media, the visuals that you put together for your graphics, kind of pull in some of those brand words to inspire your visuals. And that gives everything a very cohesive feeling when people are looking at you across the different platforms that you're on, or they run into you in different places. What Suzanne was saying is that you use the same bio picture, the same profile picture, Amazon, BookBub, Goodreads, Twitter, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, so that people, if they see you on TikTok, and there's a lot of different named people, and if you're like me, you don't remember names, but you remember faces.
Right.
Gives them a little visual cue. And even on your address of your Gmail, we started this conversation talking about like the Y stamp, where you can have a signature line, to have that same picture so that all of them look the same, that people that have maybe seen your email and then they're like, oh my gosh, I found this same person on Twitter. They know. It's a very easy tell that it's the same person. And people process visual stuff much quicker than they do words. So like me, I'm terrible at remembering names. But I will never forget your face, especially if it's the same picture. Like you look the same shirt.
Exactly. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the likes, Jenica. That's lovely. And so the other thing that, so that's Amazon. And also I have my website on the bottom of I didn't used to, but my publisher told me to put my website on the bottom of my bio. And I get a lot of people through my website from Amazon. I'm pretty sure from the Amazon page. So I think it's important to make sure your website is up there as well, in your bio. So if people want to come look you up, they can. Right. So if we are moving, so of course in Amazon you do have a huge amount of words you can use. Now when you get to places like Twitter or even to Facebook, you have a lot shorter sort of amount of words. So how do you get that, KJ? How do you take that huge bio of maybe 500 words and get it down to what you think are the most important like points that you want to get across to people, as far as like the hook for that, the synopsis for that?
Yeah. One thing to do, I would say, is a good place to start is to read the big boys in your genre. What did they put? So you have to be much more concise. You can still be entertaining or funny or thought provoking. You just have to do it in a couple of words.
Like dog wrangler or something like that, that's just fun at the end, right?
But one of the things you can do when your actual handle, like especially on Twitter, you can put, mine is KJ Waters bestselling author. So you can have more than just your name.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. On Twitter, I don't know if you guys know this, that you can actually change your name and put bestselling author or whatever next to it, or like even historical fiction writer. And so that when everything you do when you come up on Twitter will have that whole like title. I'd forgotten that. I need to go back and do that too. So carry on.
It's huge because like people go into your direct messages and it always says KJ Water bestselling author. I'm like, it sounds like they're saying that to me, but you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I put that in there. But it does help anyone that sees that. They're like, obviously you're an author. So if they're looking for authors to follow, it isn't just some random name. Other people that are looking at your tweets or that somebody shared it or whatever. So and then when you get to your bio, it's totally fine to talk genre. Time travel, you can do the hashtags. The hashtags on Twitter and the other platforms are actually indexed on Google, so that if someone's looking for time travel on Google and you're got the hashtag for even in your bio, it will show up as a searchable item. So it's good to have hashtags.
So that's good. Does that happen with things like Instagram as well? And is that all? Oh, it is SEO.
Yeah.
Oh,
huge. They are actually they're not even called necessarily a social media platform anymore. They're an indexed site. They're so connected into what Google's doing that if you're over on Pinterest to do, do your 5 brand words over there and start sharing stuff in those 5 brands, and do your hashtags and stuff, because all of that stuff is indexed on Google. But back to your
So what are your brand words? What are your 5 brand words, KJ?
oh, time travel, it's severe weather, it's the whatever I said before. I'm like losing it, my thought.
Yeah, that's okay, but they're always the same ones.
Yeah. And then, killing time is like, each of my books has a slightly different thing. So if I'm doing, the brand words for stealing time, she's accused as a witch. So I might have, witch trial or some other brand, like a hashtag connected to that particular book. This shattering time, she goes back to one of the early colonies. And
it's funny, Jenica's going beach themed water. She's filling in the blanks. So thank you, Jenica.
In my brain, I need it.
That's what you need. We need the cooperate brain, like everybody in this together. We're all over 50. So
I brain, yes. Thank you for being my brain. Suzanne does that to me all the time. She's like, think. I have lots of ideas. I don't always connect. Yes. Yeah, I do a lot of beach. I love the water. So a lot of anyway, I said that already.
But so when you're doing Twitter and that, you just find those 5 brand words. If you can do a hashtag with them, that'll take you back. That'll connect it to Google for a search. So make sure those are in as well.
Yeah.
And here to support however I can. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool. So, let's go back to the words that you put in your bio. I used to have one on Twitter that said, "I'm blonde, but I'm actually pretty smart. My 7-year-old told me so," or something like that. A lot of people thought that you're showing that you have a sense of humor and that you don't take yourself that seriously. It's like, yeah, I'm smart, but my 7-year-old standards, it's just something funny. And I hated to get rid of that. But then when you start writing books, you've got to get a little bit more specific. So if I had room, I would leave that, because I thought that was, just shows that I was just, it shows your personality a little bit. But you definitely want to put in best-selling author. If you've got it on your tag, that's good. But if you've got it in the indexed bio part, but you want to talk about your genre that you write. You want to talk about maybe a new release. If you can change that bio quickly. You just go under on your profile, you edit your profile, and you can change that. And so if you've got a new book coming up, new release on X date, it's a really good way to convey some information. But crucial elements. Derek Bourne is here, and he says, "KJ, hey Derek, good to see you, man."
How did you know he said KJ? Did he write it that way?
He did. There's lots of anyway. Derek, we love you, man. Thanks for coming on. We got to have him on. He's a bundle full of energy. He might even start singing for us or something cool.
Great. Have you got 1,000 followers? Then you can come on.
I bet he does. He says, "Hey, Susie."
I like him already.
Yeah, he's a bundle of energy.
So what does he write? We can give him a little promo. What does he write?
Oh yeah, we've had him on previous weeks. He does the Dino Rift is his
the Dino guy.
But he's great at marketing. He's probably got a ton of he's really good at doing street teams, and he's very good marketer. Oh,
why don't you talk what street when you say things like street teams, just explain quickly what that is. If people are listening, they don't know what that is, real quick.
Street team is when you go to launch your book or whatever big promotion kind of thing you're doing. Is that you have some people, and there's a way to set up a street team on Facebook. And it's actually you can name it street team, but it's a way to get people behind your launch, so that as you post stuff on Facebook, they share it and they talk about your book and they bring it up. They share it on their social media platforms, so that various ones, so that you can do it. You could also send them out on missions. Hey, I got a great review on Amazon. Run over to Amazon and like it, so that it gets further up on your list of things. Oh, yeah. So Derek says the street team is a group of your readers that would lay down their lives for you. This is
wow. I don't think I've got one of those teams yet.
Yeah, he does though. He's got super fans, so he's really done a lot.
So if he has got 1,000 followers, he should come in and talk to us about street teams, because I have had them in the past. I have to be honest with you. I haven't. After a launch, I haven't really stayed in touch. And so I'd be interested to see how he actually keeps on top of that and keeps connecting with that. That would be really interesting to know.
He's very interesting. He says he's at work, so he can't jump on right now. But
arrange
your schedule for a Friday at I guess you're in. He says, "My readers aren't my readers, though. They're my bookish family." I love that.
Oh,
He's got
nice.
But like and he had a tip. Actually, I saw you on TikTok. Last time I was on TikTok, which is before I went on vacation. But he was talking about how don't just get on social media and talk about your book and talk about your book. People want to know who you are. They're connected to you. And he's mastered this. I think he's really brilliant at this. Go to Derek. His handle is DEREKBORNE_author. And that's his on TikTok. He's on Facebook. He's probably everywhere. But
just remind us of one of his books in case people don't remember all those letters.
Dino Rift. RIFT.
Dino Rift.
He's doing a sequel to that, which he told us last time, and it's Sorrow something. I'm sorry, Derek. I remember SoraCore. SoraCore.
Look at you. 2 weeks on holiday, and you can still remember crap.
Yes. And maybe I got it wrong, but I'm going to pretend like that was totally right. So Derek, privately, so that I looked like I had going.
Oh, you're killing it, KJ. So we've got this. So here's another thing that that banner at the top of Twitter, the banner at the top of Facebook. Talk a little bit about those, and I'll talk about what my publisher does. You want to go first and talk about what you do, and then I'll talk about what they do.
Yes, so that's a great opportunity. You have a profile picture, which is usually your face. People want to see a person. You don't want to necessarily do your book as your profile picture.
And you don't want beans with a candle in it.
You don't want beans with a candle in it because, beans are great, but you want to show that you're I don't know. You can get a lot of information about your face, and some people do like a avatar, which is totally fine if you're more comfortable with that. But
that often is genre related. If they're writing in that type of genre, that makes sense, And
some people are just they want to keep that layer between themselves and the rest of the world, so that's totally fine. But behind you get a second picture that you can put up on all social media, and some of you already know this, and you're like, duh, of course. But for those of you who don't, it's called a banner. And you've got it for LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and it's behind your profile picture. And you should do something with your books in it. So an easy way to do that, and I use Canva, canva.com I talked about before, but it's a free site. It's just a website that you can go to and make these banners, and it already has the sizes. The sizes are a little tricky because every single social media platform has a slightly
different size. Yeah.
So you have to just.
But Canva knows. If you go to Canva and put in Facebook banner, they will give you the right proportion compared to Instagram banner or whatever. So.
And you want to use that space, like we were saying before, in a millisecond, your brain can convey information from visual much quicker than it can reading words. So it's a very important space to share the mood of your book, to share, like, if you're humor, you want bright colors, you want to maybe have, you want to have your book covers in there, like for Derek's, I can't remember what his looks like, but since his books are about dinosaurs, you may have like a T-Rex in the background chasing somebody, through the letters. I don't know. There's a lot of things that you can do with that. And it doesn't have to be complicated. What you're trying to do is create a mood so that as they're looking at your profile picture and the banner, they get a sense of who you are immediately. They feel
I'm going to show you my banner right now. Oh, hang on. Something popped up that wasn't supposed to. Hang on. So here's my banner right now. So what I was going to say, another thing that my publisher is they put a quote. So this is a quote, I think, from NetGalley, which we've talked about NetGalley before, but you can see that there's a quote. And so very quickly you get a quote. Look how they put the colors in there. They've added the red in to go with the banner and the red in the book. They've pulled all the colors together like that. We've got those 5 stars because instead of saying 5-star review, if you can just put those 5 stars up, it's enough for people to know what that is. And they actually test market these. They actually go out with those quotes. They'll get like 10 quotes, and they'll go out and they'll see which get the most clicks. And one thing I know that they do is they do and then they figure it out and put it in there. So I think it's really important that you can also test market like that. You can send out, like, either you can go through Twitter, Twitter, and just put out little graphics and see which one gets the most interaction as far as quotes, and then use that in your banner. because I think it makes a big difference, you know, into, so straight away I've got a quote. You could even put a quote from your book there if you wanted to. I think, you know, anything that just is a little bit more marketing.
So what does yours say? I couldn't read it.
Oh, I was absolutely hooked. Just wow. And you know, one of the things that I know that my publisher does is they tend to get everyday quotes from real people rather than I don't know whether I imagine they've test marketed this, but I don't see a lot of quotes like from, you know, authors or from like this special reviewer. It tends to be everyday people that they tend to get quotes from either NetGalley or from, you know, from Goodreads or from Amazon, and they'll put them on a banner. So I think that's really important, is how you do your banner, and you can put something like that on there, which I think looks really good.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I want to say something too about how they did hers. There's a lot of blank space in there. It's just a color. It's not so busy. You don't want it to be cluttered where it's super busy. Big letters, people can read it on a like, you think a lot of people are looking on their phones. You don't want to have these graphics that you can't read at all. Very simple, bright colors. They match the cover of her book. That's beautifully done. And then the 5 stars conveys a lot right there. People know it's a book.
Even if you only see the word hooked and 5 stars and the book cover, it's already told. It's that, whatever you said about the millisecond of the brain, it's already told its, you know, its story for you.
Yeah, and Derek says he has an author logo that says sci-fi author, which is genius, and it's beautiful. I think he's got a really good graphic designer. So that's a good idea too, just to have. And Derek, tell us where you put the logo. Is that something you have on your banners and stuff, or do you put it out there in other places? I know this because I've seen your stuff, but I want to hear from you, like your strategy and stuff. And he'll get on when he can. But and Derek, I think we should get you on the show. It would be great to pick your brain, because you're really good at this stuff. Smart guy, lots of energy, fun, and I think he's got the big picture. The big picture of this social media marketing is you're selling yourself. So you need to be a person on there. You're not just buy this book. This book is great. Blah blah blah. You have to have a connection with the audience. People are connected to people. They're not connected to things. And so to be a person out there, to be funny, what branding kind
I'm
of
sorry that it is flipped backwards. The name of my book is actually Garden of Secrets. Somebody was asking.
Good.
Garden of Secrets. So yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm sorry it's back to front. We were just trying to show branding, but yes, absolutely. You know, what you were just saying, it'd be lovely to have. Thank you very much, Dala. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you're on here. Are you an author? Tell us if you're writing, because we're trying to help authors today with their branding and what they need to do. So, which is great. So yeah. So carry on. What was you saying? What else were we saying? So we're talking about banners. We've talked about bios. And I think what you were saying is really important, is that everybody, they need to be able to go from Goodreads to Amazon to whatever, all your social media, and it needs to have a similar feel. That's another thing that I've also noticed. Like, make sure that everything feels the same. Like, for example, I actually swapped from feel good, like romance books, to historical fiction, and I have to make sure that none of my banners from my old, what I was writing before, is on there, because that doesn't represent my work anymore. And so to really make sure that everything has the same feel, I think is really important.
Yeah. And even if it's very simple, like we said, you don't want to have it too busy. People are mostly looking at stuff quickly. They're scrolling through stuff. They're looking at things on a phone, on a smaller screen. So busy is not good, no matter what it is you're designing. Okay, so we've talked about, like, the banners are really important, your bio on all the social media platforms. Now, what do you put on social media? I mean, a lot of the logarithms are built on a lot of exposure, getting out there, having a lot of your audience seeing your work. And so there's a 20-80 rule. You're supposed to do 80% of your posts are connected to your brand, but not selling your book. So talking about, like, so Suzanne does World War II. So maybe there's a really interesting fact she learned in her research to share that information. So the people are interested in World War II information are like, oh, I love this person. I'm going to, I'm going to share that. I'm going to like it. And I'm going to pay attention to what she's saying. And then 80% of the time you're sharing that type of content, sharing other books that are in that genre, sharing information. Then you get to the point where you're sharing about your own book, and then you've targeted your marketing to those people who are now attracted to your page. And you're like, oh, by the way, I write this kind of book that I think you like because you're over here. So it's part of it is like Derek does so well, is that you're selling yourself. So you're selling
Exactly.
your genre, you're selling your personality, what your interests are, and kind of what brought you to write that particular kind of book. So Suzanne obviously is British, and she writes from a lot of books.
So Della says, I like historical, just finished looking at my ancestors and I was very impressed. Do you write, Della? Because it would be fun to write something about your own family, even if it was nonfiction. That would be kind of fun. So tell us more about your adventure into your ancestry. I'm kind of scared to look mine up. Cool. Yeah, no, this is really important. I think all the things that you shared are so important. What would you say the number one important thing in branding is? What do you see where people really miss? And I'll tell you what I think, and you can tell me what you think. So,
well, there's a lot, but one of the things that we hit earlier is just looking unprofessional. I mean, I think if you get it a little bit wrong in your brand, it's not terrible. But if you look like you're a plate of beans, that's damaging your reputation more.
Literally, just so you guys know, this guy contacted us. He wanted to come on our podcast. This is a true story. Wanted to come on our podcast. The first thing we do when somebody wants to come on our podcast, we don't care whether you've sold one book or 5,000 million books. What we care about is, because we're going to have a conversation with you, we want to make sure that we're going to have enough to talk about, that you've got enough going on. We want to know what kind of person you are. So we literally went to his page and literally his Facebook page, like his profile was, a plate of beans with a candle in it. And it was like, this tells us nothing apart from the guy's got no idea about branding. So It was like, it kind of, our first thought was, we don't want, and we don't want him on the show because we don't know what he is.
Yeah.
And I think that he probably did it as a fun thing. But the fact is that think of all the opportunities that he missed out on because people didn't know what it was. Is he a scammer? Is he this? You just don't know. And so I think it's really important to take all of this very seriously if you want to be out there doing stuff. So
is his book a pamphlet on beans? I don't know.
Exactly. Birthday beans. Who knows what birthday beans are, but maybe that's what it's about,
So Ron Chapman has joined us. Thank you, Ron.
How you doing?
Afternoon, ladies. He's the guy that
you've got so many people that we know that you bring over from there. It's great. They all come over. And I've got Jenica over here. And I've also still got Della. She doesn't write, but you read, which is kind of cool, which is kind of fun.
Love readers over here,
yeah,
too.
We love readers, too. Yeah, so how's Ron doing?
Ron, how you doing, man? Did you get off of work? I think he probably got off work. He lives, I think I could say where he lives. Maybe I shouldn't, just in case, because I don't want people to know where I live, because there's creepy weirdos out there. He's dude. Maybe he's fine with it. But yeah, Ron writes horror. He's really good at all these twists and turns and very just.
We were just talking about that, Ron. Before we came on, I have to KJ is like the queen of twists and turns. She's really good at it, and I'm not so good at it. I'm real good at character. We have our strengths, right? I'm good with character. People like my characters, but I'm not always good at like messing with my character's head all the time. Whereas you don't care about that. And so we were just talking about, how to do that. Do you have any recommendations, Ron, of any really good books? I mean, we were talking about books we've read, like Gone Girl and The Girl on the Train, which have those big, twists and things. Have you read anything on writing? Because we were just saying there isn't much, I couldn't find much on Amazon about how to write twists. So let us know, Ron, if you've read anything that you like. So
that's a good question. He says he doesn't have any trouble with me telling him. He lives in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
And so go Bills.
Is Go Bills? Is that like a team?
Oh, you're such a British person. Yes. NFL team, Buffalo Bills. From Buffalo.
Okay. Never heard of those, but carry on.
He's not far from Niagara Falls, which is a really cool place. But yeah, he just got out of work, and he writes. Twisted Madness is one of his books. He's got Kringle, which is like a Santa.
Oh yeah, we talked to Ron before. I remember that Scary Christmas book. That frightened me to death.
You like horror with lots of twists and gore.
Della's from Texas. Where are you from in Texas, Della?
Oh, Della's from Texas. Great.
So yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about other ideas for branding. So we've got the email signature we talked about. We've got your banners on Facebook and Twitter and all your social medias. Make sure
She's
you
in a place called Chandler. Do you know where that is, KJ? Chandler?
No.
Tell us where that's close to, Della.
Probably a small.
I hope I'm reading my great my glasses. CH real hot. Is that you? Is that you or where you live?
Maybe both. Let's
you put it out there, girl. CHANDLER. Chandler. Is that how you say that? Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I don't know.
So tell us wherever she is, she's in a place that's hotter than the hinges of hell, by the sounds of it. So
outside my window right now, it's hot. But my pool
at Lake Palestine. Tyler, Lake Palestine. Do you know where that is, KJ?
Yeah, I know that is.
Okay.
I threw that not too long ago, actually.
Really cool. So hopefully it's cooler at the lake. If it's really hot, maybe you can dive in the lake. Yes. Are you talking to us from the lake?
From the lake.
Fun.
Good. Well, okay. So some of the other tips, just as a recap, we have had that you can put your blog posts and connect it through Author Central and Amazon, and then through Goodreads you can put your RSS feed in, which is just your blog address. And if you don't know how to do it, Google it; it will tell you. But so every time you put your blog ad, it'll go out there. We talked about
that's another thing is like I have something called recur posts, and so when I'm finished this and we've got videos we can put out, I literally go to recur post, I put up the link and everything, and I can literally hit Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and that goes out to everybody. And I think the more that you can do that, the easier it is to, like, it doesn't have to be, once you set everything up, it makes life so much easier doing that. So she's 3 blocks from the lake. Della's 3 blocks from the lake.
Nice. Work on that. Well, okay, so let's talk about recur posts. Posts. We did a lot of research. We used to be on Hootsuite. We've done Buffer. We tried Suzanne and I both were like marketing buddies. So we're like, okay, I tried this. This is great. And then we get sick of it. And it was a lot of work to get your social media posts going out regularly. So we use these tools. And one of them is called Recur Post, RECURPOST, one word. And it is a scheduler for your social media, and it renews your post. You just have to, for Twitter, have to change like a hashtag or rearrange the sentence so that it will go out again. So you don't have to create a bunch of content that you use once. You can reuse them. And so if you have a promotion every so often,
yeah, it's good. Well, just as I want to just say on the back of that, because I use it all the time, is you want to, if you're going to use recur posts, use evergreen posts. Don't put Happy 4th of July or something, because that might go out in November and everyone's like, why should we be Happy 4th of July? Because it literally, I literally have mine categorized by months. So like I have 30 posts that will go out in January, 30 posts that will go out in February, and most of them either ask a question or they're funny, they're like a comedic something, or they're also, I also have to do my books, but it's not as much. Mainly it's just to get into reaction with people. I have quotes, I have that kind of thing. And then I have them so obviously the ones in the fall look more fallish and the ones in Christmas look more Christmasish. But then you can just add to that, or you can change it, or you can do something with it. And I find that means that there's a constant stream of social posts going out all through the year. Every time it's the next month, I just pause and say, I'll be pausing July soon and starting August, and that will be about what's your favorite ice cream flavor or whatever I've got in there. But it means that by next August, nobody's going to remember what I posted this August. So it's and also you get new readers. So I'm constantly getting this overflow. So I really love recur post. I think any business who has a business, it's a great way to have a social media manager to do that for you.
Right. And it's really nice because you can expire posts. You can tell it when to stop. So like if you have a book club promotion or some kind of promotion, you can have it run just during those dates, and then it stops, and you can go back to it later. You could also in there, I have set up, I don't know if you've done this, Suzanne, where you can share posts from other blogs. So I have
No, I haven't done that. That's one step I haven't done. So
yeah.
do you look up their SEO? Is that how do you find people's? Do you do
You
their
find
feed?
Yeah, on Recur Post you find their RSS feed, and
Right.
it asks you if you want to do them. So you have some, like, it'll be requests for you to hit them. But I do Joanna Penn, who has a lot of
Oh
writing.
yeah, she's brilliant.
Do Kindlepreneur, which is a lot of great writing information. I have Genius Links, who's it's a book linker type smart.
Now you were talking about having Jesse back on. Have you spoke to him, Jesse Lakes?
I have. I talked to him, emailed him yesterday. He was on vacation, then I was on vacation, and so now we're both back. And so we're going to try to.
And does he have? I'm guessing he has 1,000 followers, right?
He does not, but he's like, I'm working on it.
Gotta do it. Gotta get those followers so we can have you on.
But I mean, maybe there's some other way that we can share his content. What he has that's brand new is something called Book Linker, where you use a link to your book to Amazon, iTunes, whatever, your Apple, Google Play, all the places you'd have your book. But it's smart because it captures information. It shares, like if you share an Amazon US link and somebody from France clicks on that link, it won't take them to your book. It'll take them to the US site, which they don't get in on because they're from France. So it's a linker that allows them to go to whatever country that person is from.
Yeah, that's why I love Genius Links, because
Yes.
it literally, I can put one link out, and no matter where somebody's in the world, it will link them to their own Amazon,
Right.
which is great.
Right.
And, I mean, I don't do that much anymore. I don't use it, but I know that you have. Are you still collecting lots of info from that, KJ?
Yeah, I love this site, but this new thing that they're doing, and he wants to talk about, is Book Linker, which is
that's what it used to be called a long time ago. I think they were called Book Linker, and then they went to Genius Link, which is interesting. They're going back to Book Linker again. So,
well, no, that Book Linker is just a simpler site, and
okay.
Now update. So they've both been live for a very long time, Book Linker and Genius Links. Genius Links is just a much more robust tool. It has a lot more, does your Amazon associates and stuff. So we can get really deep in the weeds with this. So I'm not going to go down that path yet, but we can have.
We'll have him talk about it. Yeah.
It's an amazing tool for authors, because when you share links, you want to make sure that they go to the right place and that anyone clicking on it has just an easy experience getting to your book. That's how you're selling on social media, so you send them right to your book. So
and not just your book. I mean, if you are in any kind of business where you're like selling, it does anything, right? It just gives you a link that will take anybody anywhere. So if you're selling hats in your business, you could also use Genius Link for whatever. So
sure, yeah, exactly. And if your blog post, it can be anything. But anyway, so we'll get into that more later. But look up, if you want to learn more about it, go to booklinker.com, I believe is what it is. Look it up. It's a great tool. It's free. It's really useful tool. They have,
at some point we should maybe do. We should normally do take back like our best 10 free things that we use, things like that, like Book Linker, Canva, and we could talk about our top 10 kind of thing, because it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I love that idea, because I keep wanting to do that. I never do, because I'm trying to do all these other things. But anyway, I think we're kind of wrapping it up. Does anybody have either a question or like advice, the things that they do they'd like to share with us? Because I think this has been a fun topic. Love to hear anything that you're using out there that has been very helpful. Or
Della wanted to say goodbye. I must go get ready for VBS. Have a great and blessed weekend. I enjoy listening. Thank you, Della. Please listen to us again. This is actually going to be available on our YouTube channels if you want to see anything again. I'm Suzanne Kelman, SUZANNEKELMAN. That's the name of my and you can go to Twitter and just to my handle and just go through here. And KJ is KJ Waters. And so either of those people, you can go and listen to the whole interview again. If there are parts of it that you think, oh gosh, what was the name of that particular link? And we would love to have you do that over on YouTube. So yeah, so please join us. Sorry, carry on, KJ. You were just wrapping up. I just wanted to let her know before she disappeared.
Yeah. And if you like the content that we've been doing these TikTok videos, then the full amount released on YouTube for about 2 months now. So we've got some content. We've covered book covers, book blurbs, a lot of different things. This one was more of a branding one, But there's a lot of good marketing information. Book, a lot of them. Suzanne did a bunch on craft. We both did, but she's really good at that stuff. So go check those out on our YouTube channels, and then we also have a podcast that's up on iTunes and what's it called? The other one, Podbean.
Blondie and the Brit. Oh, Podbean. Sorry.
Yeah, we've had 93 interviews up on there, so you can check out all our old content. And then,
so Derek Bourne, author, is over here, and he goes, Susie.
Derek, you are the best.
How cool is that? I'm guessing this is your so friend.
That's Derek. Yeah,
Derek. We love it. We love interaction. It's so fun. We don't always get a lot of interaction. We know that people see it other places, so we're not like worried about that too much because it's on YouTube and some other things. But it's always lovely when you get some interaction. It's fun, isn't it, KJ?
It is, and we'd love to have you on, Derek. Let's figure this out.
Yelling names is more fun, he says.
It is.
Oh, too much fun. Cool.
Well, good. Well, check us out next week. If there's a topic you'd like to cover, send us a message or just comment on one of these on our TikTok page or wherever else you're seeing this. We'd be happy to cover something specific for you. If there's things that you need help with, or even if you're an expert on, you want to come on the show and talk about whatever it is, we would love to talk to you.
Yeah. Cool. And we had Kim Nash last week, actually. If you guys want to check that out, she is another author. And I had a lovely interview with her because KJ was away. So she was a great author. We talked a lot about her books. And if you are an author and you want to come on and you have 1,000 followers, because it's the only way we can co-host, unfortunately, on TikTok. They haven't kind of figured that out yet, I don't think. But yeah, we would love to have you come on and talk to both of us. So maybe we can do that too.
Sounds good. Well, join us next Friday. 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, and 2 p.m. Central, and we will be here live.
Well, Derek can't come, he says. We loved having you, Derek, even though you couldn't come on the show. It's lovely that you came and said hi. Okay, bye, Jenica. Bye, Derek.
Bye, everybody.
Derek. Okay, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.